Okay, it's going now.
All right. So this is your quiz review. Everybody ready? Back to the beginning. First thing you want to know is what chemical component of the exoskeleton gives it toughness and flexibility? Chitin is correct. What are the three major body segments in arthropods?
Head, thorax, and abdomen.
Head, thorax, and abdomen is correct. What subphylum are lobsters in? What subphylum are lobsters in?
I started it, remember?
Crustacea is correct. Crustacea. What? That should be at the beginning. It says subphylum Crustacea is the title of the slide. But you have to know that lobsters are in it. Okay?
But the one before that, it was the head, the thorax, and the abdomen?
Those are the three body segments, yes,
Okay.
in the arthropods. That should be under the introduction or characteristics of the arthropods. Okay?
Get this.
All right, so also under the crayfish, make sure you know that what is the name of the organ of balance in the crayfish? The organ of balance. It should be toward the end there. The statocyst, that is correct. The organ of balance should be right before regeneration and reproduction. The organ of balance is called the statocyst. Yeah, it's a really short quiz. All right, then what class are spiders in? Arachnida, that is correct. Arachnida. What appendages do spiders use to paralyze prey? What appendages do they use to paralyze their prey? Chelicerae, yes, chelicerae.
Did we cut off the
And then spiders release silk through organs called? No. No, what is it released through? Not what produces it.
Spinnerets.
Spinnerets, there you go. Spiders release silk through organs called spinnerets. Okay, that is it. Like I said, it's a very short, very easy quiz.
Okay, I need to get like any other. Someone gave me one. So I got.
Right, Evans, also make sure your homework gets to you. Okay, we are going to begin our discussion of insects. This is the second half of chapter 16. Something taking right into the thing.
Here.
All right, there we go. Adjust. All right. So we are going to look at some characteristics of insects. Lots of info about insects. Here we go. First of all, class Insecta encompasses nearly 1 million species, but like I said, the estimate is that they outnumber humans 200 million to 1. So for and there's about 7 billion people on this planet, right? So if you think about it, for every one person on the planet, there's 200 million insects. Yes. So almost 80% of all kinds of animals are insects.
You kill some of these things off.
Yeah.
You gonna take a little bit?
Okay. Great. That's what they do.
Have you seen penguins, Brian? They're not that smart.
Some insects are beneficial to us. I know some of them are harmful to us, but some are also beneficial. Now, what distinguishes them from other arthropods? Because we've been talking about arthropods this whole chapter. What makes insects unique compared to others?
6 legs, compound eyes.
The first thing is their legs. Yes, they only have 3 pairs of walking legs. Remember, we talked about arachnids, which have 4 pairs of walking legs. Also, so do crustaceans have 4 pairs of walking legs. So this is different than the rest. They only have 3 pairs of walking legs for a total of 6. Although there are some insects that don't have legs at all.
That's not possible.
Wings are usually present. Once again, usually. So that means they are unique in that most insects can fly. Some only have wings for a brief period of time. For example, in the ant world, the queen ant does have wings until she starts to reproduce. And then
Can she fly though? Can she fly?
yes, before she starts mating or reproducing, she can. Body is divided now, this time officially divided into those three segments we learned about with arthropods, the head, thorax, and abdomen. There is no fusing together of the head and thorax this time.
I think it'd be so cool to be an ant. I'm watching the ant movie.
The bee movie.
That's mean.
But that's fictional. Anyway, there is also one pair of sensory antennae. Every insect has one pair of sensory antennae. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about their legs. Oh, were you not done? I'm sorry.
No, I just didn't. It don't matter. I didn't get the entire slide, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's stuck to my hair. Okay, where's my PhD certification? All right. Their legs, they do have, once again, 3 pairs of legs. They are jointed because they are arthropods, so they're jointed legs located along the thorax. So they have their head, the thorax, and the legs are attached to the thorax portion. Now the structure of the legs does vary depending on the insects. For example, flies. Flies' legs have tiny little claws and sticky pads on them. And these enable them to climb smooth surfaces. That's why flies can crawl on your window. Even though that's glass and it's smooth, they have those little sticky pads on them so they can stick to that. And they can climb straight up, or they can climb on the, walk on the ceiling, whatever it may be. That's why. Grasshoppers have the heavily muscled hind legs because they are jumpers. They do have wings, but they typically jump rather than fly. So that's another example. This is just to show you like the different examples of legs that are found. There's no specific names for them. Let's see. Water striders. Have you ever seen a water strider or heard of them?
Yeah, they go on top of the film.
Yes, they can go across water without, they can walk on it basically. But that's because their legs have these bristles on them that allow them to skitter. They walk pretty quickly, but they can skitter across water. And that, it also has to do with like the surface tension of water, because water is cohesive. And so the fact that they have these bristles and then the cohesion of water aids in that as well.
Don't like Jesus lizard or whatever.
Is that a good dog name? Skin?
I guess.
Maybe a cat, Skinner.
Yes.
Some of them have claws, but these are really
Well, that's not a name.
the front pair. They still only have 6 legs, but the front pair of legs then is made. Yeah, it looks like claws. They're kind of, how what he's doing. There you go. But they use them to seize their prey.
Jubilee says some huge mantises on the fence.
Where? Who does what?
Jubilee.
Jubilee.
Never have mantises,
You can put some mantises in our garden just because of.
Yeah, they keep away harmful pests. They'll eat the larvae of harmful pests.
Same as
You can also do the same thing.
I was thinking of mantis from Kung
That's what I was
Sell
thinking.
at Home Depot.
Ooh, bees.
Do they sell them in egg form?
Yes, they sell them in egg form at Home Depot.
Do you like jet? Oh, you bees
Yeah.
too.
And they have
He's tripping, dude.
the praying mantises are a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
They like jazz.
And then bees also have special kind of legs. They have fuzzy legs. And these fuzzy legs enable them to groom their body, and also this is how they carry pollen. They pick up the pollen and they bring it to another flower. So those fuzzy legs help with that. And also, sometimes their legs are used to make sound. Like in crickets, the reason crickets can make sound is because of their front legs or have that have special structures where they can do that. Yeah, they kind of rub their legs together. And sometimes the legs, because of their shape or structure, they're used in elaborate courtship rituals. We talk about that with spiders, you know, different courtship rituals. Okay, so not only are the legs very varied amongst insects, so are the wings, right? Because insects are the only invertebrates that can fly. Now, not all insects fly, I understand that, but most of them do. They usually have 2 pairs of wings. Okay, so they do have 2 pairs of wings. They do have different flying speeds thanks to their wings as well. But the first pair are the most common type of insects, and they're called membranous wings. And these are thin, transparent wings. When you look at them, they're crisscrossed with lots of veins, and that supplies the blood, or it's actually called hemolymph, but supplies the energy and everything to those wings. But these are the flying wings, the membranous wings. Some insects fly very quickly. It says a fly averages 5 miles per hour, where a dragonfly can fly at 25 miles per hour. So they do vary in the speeds they fly as well. Now, some flying wings are covered with scales, so they are called scale-covered wings. Typically, those scales are very beautifully colored, like in the butterfly or moth. They also rub off very easily. I don't know if you ever realized that about butterflies. Did you ever capture?
It looks like powder on.
Yes, and those are the scales that cover its wings.
Those are moths a lot.
Yeah. So those are flying wings. Those are 2 types of flying wings. There are 2 more types of wings, but they're considered more protective wings. Leather-like wings protect the flying wings when the insect is not in flight. A grasshopper has leather-like wings. Underneath of those leather-like wings are the flying membranous wings on a grasshopper. But like I said, a grasshopper many times chooses not to fly and jumps instead.
Or can use it as a booster.
Yeah. It doesn't really use the leather-like wings for flying. It has to keep them open.
What about like a ladybug?
Aha, that's my next one. Those are called. Oh, that's really down there. But they're called horny wings. They're like shield wings. You can think of them that way. Because a ladybug is a beetle. They cover most of not just the wings, but the dorsal surface of the insect. Now these are an impediment to flying mostly. They're not very aerodynamic because they have to actually hold them open in order to fly. Especially if you get into these larger beetles. So many of the times beetles run, and they run very fast. But that's because they have these heavy horny wings covering their flying wings. Yeah, a ladybug's a little bit smaller, so it flies pretty easily. If you think of like these really large, maybe rhinoceros beetles or.
You can fish with those. can fish with that. You can fish with a rod. Fish beetle.
Yeah.
You use that as bait too?
Yeah, I never use beetles though.
No,
Pain.
the big ones that, we're not talking about beetles yet, but the ones that were always around in New Jersey were Japanese beetles.
Oh,
They were
awesome.
giant.
Big.
And even if you stepped on them, they just did not die.
Oh.
They were so, I mean, their shield wings were so tough that you just like, even just stomping on them, you kind of had to stomp them. It's great.
Twilight.
Stop it.
They were just, and they're huge beetles too, they'd be all around. I mean, they don't bug humans, but they destroy garbage.
Yeah, they.
So it's just,
I really like beetles.
but they are considered, Japanese beetles are actually not native to the United States. They were brought in, I don't know if they're actually from Japan or not, but that's just what they're called. But they're not native to the US, they're considered, I forget what the name of it is, but it's just one of those species that comes in and like harms other species.
Invasive.
Yes, it's an invasive species.
Illegal insects.
The only beetles that I think
Oh, wow, I
sort
forgot
of cool
jokes, huh?
are the those water beetles. They're like there's something in the water and they'll go every which way.
All right, also, so they have varied legs, they have varied wings, they also have varied types of mouths. The mouth actually, especially in a chewing insect, is divided into parts. You have what's called the labrum and the mandibles and the maxillae. And the labium is like the lower lip. But you don't really have to worry about like those specific mouth parts. What I want you to know are the different types of functions the mouth parts can have. So they can be chewing. These are animals that like vegetation, right? They consume plant material. These are the ones that destroy your crops. So like grasshoppers, locusts, beetles, they like vegetation most of the time. Piercing mouth parts, an example is mosquitoes. They can pierce human flesh or animal flesh, of course, but then you also have ones that have piercing mouth parts that feed more on plants. So they pierce like the tissue of a plant, and that way they can get to the inner part of the plant and absorb those fluids from a plant. But then with a mosquito, you think, yeah, that feeds on blood, so it needs those piercing parts to have that blood, be able to suck up the blood. A third type of mouth is a siphoning mouth. Siphoning would be found in butterflies because they feed on the nectar. They have a tube actually that they keep rolled up, a long siphoning tube. It's rolled up while they're not feeding. It's kind of, have you guys ever seen those the party blowers?
Yeah,
It rolls up and then you blow it and it
I
comes
think I've
out.
seen like a slow-mo with the butterfly. Those things are weird.
So that's basically what it's like. But they siphon, so they don't actually pierce, because they feed on nectar from flowers. They don't pierce that. The nectar is available, it's usually at the base of the petals, and they just use that tube and they siphon it up, they like suck it up. And then finally you have sponging parts, and that's a fly. It's kind of disgusting to think about, but a fly, the way that it feeds is it pukes up on its food and then it laps it up.
Awesome.
That's why you never eat anything after flies landed on it, because most likely it's already done that by the time you shoo it away.
Fast.
Miracle of life. You get that?
That's what happens. They throw up and what have you guys? I hate to bring it up, but have you guys ever seen Hotel Transylvania?
Yeah.
The fly is constantly like blah on its hands, and like that's why, because it's a fly.
I think some hot dogs would like work with flies then.
Ew. Flies are nasty because they not only do they like have to puke up and then lap up the little fluids or whatever, in their gut they carry tons of bacteria and diseases. That's why I don't like the flies sit around. All right.
So ugly.
So these are some examples. These are just diagrammatic examples so you can see. You have chewing, sponging, siphoning, and piercing types of mouth parts. So close up view. Don't you just love that picture of the fly?
Love it.
All right. Nutrition. What do insects feed on, or how do they feed on these things? First of all, their digestive system. We're going to look at their digestive system. It is divided into 3 parts. Okay. First, we have the foregut. It's just what it sounds like. The foregut is the front part, right? When it gets into its mouth, the food is moistened by salivary glands, just like our food is. When food goes into our mouth, it's moistened by salivary glands. Insects have that as well. It passes through a short esophagus to a crop for storage. So this is I think we talked about the crop with the earthworm. Was it the earthworm? Maybe it was a different type of worm. But it stores the food temporarily, the crop. Then it continues to the gizzard, and the gizzard does what it did in the worm. The gizzard grinds the food, crushing it into smaller pieces. And this is more for insects that, it's pretty much the same for all insects, although I wonder, since some of them only feed on liquid stuff, like those that have piercing mouth parts or siphoning mouth parts, if it really needs to be ground up, but I'm not really too sure.
Oh, wow, I finished that page. Good.
We also, Lane, we also have a quiz review. We have a quiz tomorrow. All right, so that is the foregut. And then we go to the midgut, which is just what it sounds like. It's the middle part. The midgut is its stomach, basically, right? So the gizzard, after it grinds up the food into smaller parts, it moves it into the stomach. And this is located in the abdomen portion. So the head, this is all moving into the abdomen. Around the stomach, there are what are called gastric ceca. The gastric ceca are really what provide the digestive juices. This has the enzymes and such in it that help the chemical digestion of the food. Okay? This is the major site of digestion and absorption, this midgut area. And then finally we have the hindgut, which is the end portion. This is really where the intestine is located, and this is the solid residue, the waste that's left. By the way, I forgot to mention that most of the absorption takes place in the midgut because the rest of the digestive system is kind of lined with chitinous plates, so you can't really absorb anything at that point. So this is the solid residue that's left. Water and salts are reabsorbed or absorbed out. That's important because they recycle those materials and reuse them. So the water and salt is absorbed, but the solid waste is then expelled out of the body. Some insects do need help with digestion. I'm going to leave this up here while you guys are writing that. But some have, like for example, termites. Does anyone know what termites eat?
Wood.
They do. They eat wood, and wood has a lot of cellulose in it, right? Cellulose is that material that gives plants toughness, and wood is made from plants, right? So that cellulose is usually, it can't be digested or broken down. So termites actually have protozoans living in their digestive tract. And these protozoans break down the cellulose so that it can be absorbed and used for energy by the termite. So that's how termites are able to survive on just wood. And then the protozoans, I guess, they also feed on the same stuff. And so it's not a dangerous, it's not a bad thing for the termite. They live in a symbiotic relationship. Similar to how, remember we talked about the bacteria and the plants, the bacteria absorb the nitrogen from the atmosphere. Kind of the same thing, symbiotic relationship. Right. Moving on to respiration. The respiration has these tubules called tracheae. And these tracheae branch throughout the insect. It's quite complete. Oxygen is transported without using the circulatory system. Did you get out of that? No. They don't need the blood in the circulatory system and the blood do not transport oxygen to the body parts. It's this system of tubules that transports the oxygen. It's a very efficient system. They also have these spiracles, there we go, that run along the side of the animal. They're these little minute little pores or tubules that open up these pores, these spiracles. And they can exchange the gases, so they can absorb oxygen, release the carbon dioxide. So it's kind of like the way an insect breathes, because it doesn't really have lungs, right? But the way an insect breathes is that while its abdomen is contracting, it pumps air into and out of the tracheae. And so that's how it breathes, just by abdominal contractions. I think we'll stop there, pick up there tomorrow. Your only homework is to review for the quiz, Stanford quiz tomorrow. No, it's not activity period today. We're going to have the special chapel, so we're on a chapel schedule.
Wait,
First,
so we
second.
have English after lunch?
Yes. We're going to do first, second, third chapel lunch.
I'm so
The first, second, third, fourth chapel lunch, fifth, sixth, seventh. Right. Same thing tomorrow. We're going to be on chapel
I should
schedule.
just run my hat. It'll be like, you know what?
Oh, yeah.
Are you gonna be a professional skateboarder?
It depends on who's asking. If they're serious, they want me to say a serious answer, then photography. So if they don't want a serious answer, I could say that or vlogger. Casey Neistat. No. Casey Neistat.
No, I said, Evan, do you a golfer?
Oh, what kind of golf?
I think I golf in this as well. Last time I went, this is what I wore. I wear this. I wear
Do you
this.
fish in that too?
No, I usually have a Guy Harvey shirt on, but very close.
A Guy Fieri?
It's probably these pants as well. These pants.
The black shirt with
They
the
just
flames
are-
on it.
They're super thin, so like they're awesome.
Are they?
They're like nothing. They're Vans.
Because my husband, we found some similar to that, like at the end of the season.
I wish
He
I
loves
had
them. He loves
I love
them.
these.
I love
Because they're thin, they're lightweight.
What show is it that?
Exactly. I didn't know these
He
existed.
wears shorts when he works, but he doesn't want to wear, denim shorts or anything like that. That's super heavy. He doesn't want to wear a swimsuit.
Board shorts.
Evans,
They're like as thin as board shorts. But they're
which one is the Zoom?
Yeah. You know what we're in there? They're Vans.
These are
They're
Vans. Yeah.
Are you allowed to?
The leg.
Leg. Oh, yeah.